As we are on the eve of the spookiest month of the year, it's only natural for goblins and ghouls and even witches to be coming out in droves and just causing mayhem all over the place. And in particular, we have Emma Watson and J.K. Rowling blowing up on the internet this past week with an explosive interview that Emma Watson came out about her time with J.K. Rowling, about her time growing up as a child actress, and how the world just kind of just changed all around her all of a sudden. And the interview, at least one of the main bits I want to talk about, is this particular section right here, is how she still treasures J.K. Rowling after everything she said about her. It's quite interesting, so let's get into it.
Ever cancel her out or cancel that out for anything. It has to remain true. It is true. And this is where this like holding of these, I just don't know what else to do other than hold these two seemingly incompatible things together at the same time and just hope maybe they will one day resolve or like co-join themselves.
Your issue there, Emma, is that have your friend, a mentor even, a woman that got you your greatest role that you'll ever play, and you just lambasted her as someone who is evil for not being pro trans ideology. Whereas on the other side, you have this trans ideology that has proven to be dangerous to women that have harmed women, and yet you want to hold them at the same time, and you want to be okay with them both, even though you discarded the one that did so much for you, and the other one that you thought was your friend is now shunning you or not bringing all that much success. Like, I'm sorry, you can't hold them both. You chose a side. Now you want to go back? It's gonna be a lot harder to go back to your friend that you completely ditched.
And maybe accept that they never will, but that they can both still be true.
No.
And I can love her. I can know she loved me. I can be grateful to her. I can know the things that she said are true. And there can be this whole other thing. And my job feels like to just to hold all of it. But the bigger thing is just what she's done will never be taken away from me. Ever can.
You see what we didn't have there? We didn't have an apology. We didn't hear Emma Watson say, I said some really hateful things to my friend, the friend that I treasure and love. Foresight's 2020. I wish I didn't say those things. I was a 20, 30-year-old adult. I was part of an ideological group that was, crazy at the time when I was a kid that I was all for. And looking back on it, I do really regret the things I said and losing this great friendship I have with J.K. Rowling, who gave me my greatest role I could ever have. No, we didn't have any of that. We just had I hold both of these ideas equally in my hands and I cherish both of them. Well, after this statement here, J.K. Rowling is done holding back. Because one thing you would have noticed that J.K. Rowling didn't necessarily go all that hard in the paint against Emma Watson and Daniel Radcliffe with all their spewing of dislikes and resentment towards J.K. Rowling for her stances on the woman ideology. She's 100% with the left on everything else, but the trans issues where she split with them, and that's where both Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson just completely came after her. Now, this is what J.K. Rowling had to say in response to this interview. I'm seeing quite a bit of comment about this, so I want to make a couple of points. I'm not owed internal agreement from any actor who once played a character I created. The idea is as ludicrous as me checking with the boss I had when I was 21 for what opinions I should hold these days. Fair enough. Emma Watson and her co stars have every right to embrace gender identity ideology. Such beliefs are legally protected, and I wouldn't want to see any of them treated with loss of work or violence or death because of them. However, Emma and Dan in particular have both made it clear over the last few years that they think our former professional association gives them particular right, nay, obligation to critique me and my views in public. Years after they finished acting in Potter, they continued to assume the role of de facto spokespeople for the world I created, which I can only assume is because their other roles have not amounted to the same fanfare that their previous Harry Potter roles as. Emma Watson, her biggest role is probably being Belle in Beauty and the Beast, which she did not do particularly well at. In fact, you could take any other girl that can actually sing and put her into that role, and she'd do 10 times better than Emma Watson did with her auto tune voice that they had to just pump up to make her actually sound like she was singing. Like, that movie was not great at any stretch of the imagination. And then you have Daniel Radcliffe. Like, I can't even really tell you like any other breakout roles that he's had. He's been in a lot of indie films, he's been in a lot of other stuff, but I cannot say that there's been a particular film that's been like, wow, that was amazing. He's really showing his acting chops. I can't say I've seen anything like that. Yes, he's had more work, but nothing that's been on the same level as Harry Potter. When you've known people since they were 10 years old, it's hard to shake a certain protectiveness unless quite recently I hadn't managed to throw off the memory of children who needed to be gently coaxed through their dialogue in a big, scary film studio. For the past few years, I've repeatedly declined invitations from journalists to comment on Emma, specifically, most notably, on the witch trials of J.K. Rowling. Ironically, I told the producers that I didn't want her to be hounded as a result of anything I said. And that right there, like, she's not your mother, but at the very least, she's like an aunt or a sister or your uh, best friend, older person who's trying to do the best they can protect you. So you think there'd be a little bit more decorum for J.K. Rowling coming from Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson when it comes to them speaking out publicly. But that's not what happened. They completely dragged her through the mud. The television presenter in the attached clip highlights Emma's all witches speech, and in truth, that was a turning point for me, but it had a postscript that hurt far more than speech itself. Now, I didn't know much about this at the time, but apparently, after Emma says that she loves all witches, except for one, when she mouthed that part, I believe that's the part that J.K. Rowling is talking about. If it's not, please correct me down in the comment section below. But if she said that, yeah, the gaunt's truly being thrown down. The person that you claim to love, Emma, you seem to hate pretty vehemently back then. So you have a lot of explaining to do and a lot of groveling if you ever want to make up with J.K. Rowling at this point. Emma asked someone to pass on a handwritten note from her to me, which contained the single sentence, "I'm so sorry for what you're going through." She has my phone number. This was back when the death, rape, and torture threats against me were at their peak, at a time when my personal security measures had to be tightened increasingly, and I was consistently worried for my family's safety. Emma had just publicly poured more petrol on the flames, yet thought a one line expression of concern from her would reassure me of her fundamental sympathy and kindness. Sure, sure, Emma. Yeah, seems like J.K. Rowling didn't buy that at all, and neither would I. Like, that's a point in time when you call up your friend, be like, hey, I said some awful things. I'm so sorry. I did not really intend for it to be like this. I don't know what I was thinking. Can I get you some brunch? Can we sit down and talk? I want to smooth things out. I'm so sorry. But you didn't do that. No, instead, you went on with the vehement attacks against J.K. Rowling. Like other people who never experienced adult life uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma has little experience of real life. She's ignorant of how ignorant she is. Put that in a book or put that in a movie, someone, because that is gold. She'll never need a homeless shelter. She's never going to be placed on a mixed sex public hospital ward. I'd be astounded if she's been in a high street changing room since childhood. Her public bathroom is a single occupancy and comes with a security man standing guard outside the door. Has she had to strip off in a newly mixed sex changing room at a council run swimming pool? Is she ever likely to need a state run rape crisis center that refuses to guarantee an all female service? To find herself sharing a prison cell with the male rapist who's identified into the woman's prison? I wasn't a multimillionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. Therefore, I understand from my own life experience that the trashing of women's rights in which Emma has so enthusiastically participated means to women and girls without her privileges. The greatest irony here is that had Emma not decided in her most recent interview to declare that she loves and treasures me, a change of tack I suspect she's adapted because she knows full throated condemnation of me is no longer quite as fashionable as it was, I might never have been this honest. And let me just say right there, I don't think anyone really hated J.K. Rowling. Not the majority of our fans. I think there was a very large, loud, and massive section of the internet that hated her, that went after her. There was the queer and gender pride people that went after her. But I think normal people, stand people who weren't on the internet 24/7, they never really had an issue with J.K. Rowling. So like, oh yeah, she's the one who made the Harry Potter book. Oh, she postmortemly made Gandalf gay. Okay, fine, whatever. But still great books. Oh, she has these thoughts on immigration. Okay, kind of a wacko, but you know what? She's a liberal. Okay, that's fine as expected. Oh, she's pro female rights. She's pro not having men in women's bathrooms. Okay, yeah, fine. So I don't think the general public was ever against J.K. Rowling, but definitely the crazies on Twitter and everywhere else definitely were. Adults cannot expect to cozy up to an activist movement that regularly calls for a friend's assassination, then assert their right to the former friend's love as though the friend was in fact their mother. Emma is rightly free to disagree with me and indeed to discuss her feelings about me in public, but I have the same right and I finally decided to exercise it. Damn, this is an amazing statement that J.K. Rowling released that I think every star should have to read and go through, because we've seen this way too much about people just going after their friends and just destroying friendships over their ideologies, that you should be really more appreciative about the people around you. And Emma Watson and Daniel Radcliffe were not. Now, if we go to one of my favorite tweets in this whole scenario, we have Jaron Montgomery coming in with "Never fuck a writer" after reading this. And my favorite response is from J.K. Rowling to this is that you can fuck us, just don't fuck with us. So I thought that was pretty epically stated by J.K. Rowling about this whole scenario that she's going through. Now, with that said, I do want to make a commentary that things seem to be changing a little bit for J.K. with this Pape Sude as Black Snape. So it seems like she's not caring about her work too much nowadays to allow this to be happening in the Harry Potter series, along with the rumor of Voldemort being played by a potentially woman. Now, do I think this is a true rumor? No, I don't. I think that they just had an open casting because Hollywood required it, but I think at the end of the day, we're still going to get a dude to be playing Voldemort. Although we do have the Black Snape now, so you kind of have to give this some credence after what they did with Snape. Like, you literally have the gentleman who's called Mudblood or the Half Blood Prince. So, which half of him is the half blood? Like, it's just bad, okay? Like, the fact that you made Snape into a black character is just idiotic. But with that said, I still think that this was an epic statement by J.K. Rowling. Emma Watson has had this coming for a long time. I'm glad that it's finally been dished out to her. But with that said, I want to hear what you guys got to say. What do you think of J.K. Rowling's statement? What do you think of Emma Watson's statement? Do you think that these two people will come back together? Or do you think that this is just them publicly being like, yeah, you may want to come back, but I have nothing nice to say to you? And if Emma Watson was to come back, do you want to see her being part of the Harry Potter universe anymore? I can't wait to hear what you guys got to say. Leave a like if you liked the video, leave a comment if you did not, or if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll catch y'all later. Bye now.